Welcome back to the Mintner Method. I'm Andrew Mintner, and on today's episode, we're going to break down the matchup between Virginia and Notre Dame. So, this doesn't seem like an intriguing matchup. I'm sure you're probably on paper, God bless, this is going to be boring as fuck. Why are we going to break this down? But I think it is important to, kind of dive into some of these larger spreads late in the season because we have an understanding of what teams are, what they're looking to do, what is at stake, and all those things matter when we're looking at, a large spread. So Virginia here, they're going to have a tall task ahead of them. And I think the biggest indicator here is Notre Dame is going to probably be able to impose their will, especially from an offensive standpoint. So they are number one in early downs rushing on first and second down, which carries them to third overall EPA per attempt on first and second down. And, Virginia at bottom, 15 in the Power 5. So these rankings, remember, are out of 70 teams. So that's 70 Power 5 teams, including Notre Dame. So, as you can see kind of right off the bat, there's going to be a big advantage. And, the spread is 22.5, so, you would expect there to be a big advantage on both sides, right? Especially, for the favorite team. So, when we go into the advanced stats side of the ball, defensively, Notre Dame, not having Benjamin Morrison is more of a detriment to the bigger picture down the road, and we will see how that kind of plays out when they face playoff quality teams. But in this instance, I don't think it's going to matter really at all. So from the defensive side of the ball, they are number one in efficiency overall and 11th in allowing explosive plays. So when you're looking at Virginia, they're not really great at pretty much anything outside of stuff rate, which just means they don't get tackled at or behind the line of scrimmage a lot. So that's kind of whatever. But it doesn't really translate to an elite rushing efficiency or rushing explosiveness. So the thing with Notre Dame is they are pretty solid across the board in every single statistic. Stuff rate is their lowest ranking on defense, 73rd overall. But I still think though, this team is they're dialed in. They understand what's at stake after the Northern Illinois loss early in the season. But going to the offensive side of the ball, this is one thing that I really find intriguing, which this is not a Notre Dame team of recent memory. This is your grandpa's old school rushing, mobile quarterback, triple option-esque, Notre Dame style team. So when it comes to stuff rate and offensive line yards, which are two rushing metrics, they're not really fantastic in that. They're 36th in offensive line yards, 55th in stuff rate, but their ability to produce the fifth best rushing offense efficiency-wise and then the most explosive rushing offense has a lot to do with having Riley Leonard. He is, as documented many times before, he is not a fantastical passer, but that is not, Notre Dame doesn't ask him to do, things that he's not great at. And I think that is a big catalyst to their success, especially offensively. So his ability to bring up designed runs, it puts the defense at a disadvantage, because it's a hat for a hat at that point. You can't really overwhelm the rushing attack, right? And then as you can see from the passing side of it, they're not explosive. They're average when it comes to efficiency. But the thing is, Virginia here being 127th in stuff rate, 115th in defensive line yards, and then, basically average to, below average in the other rushing statistics, it's a big red flag to me. So when we go to the depth profiles, I think for Virginia's best way to keep in this game is they're going to have to probably connect on some some down the field plays, but I just don't think that's going to be in the cards for them. So let's look at a couple of things here. They are very good at throwing the ball short, 1 to 9 yards, 7th overall. And they have a pretty balanced profile. Yeah, it's like an average profile, right? They're 1 to 9 yards, 41% of the time behind the line of scrimmage, sub 20%, and then 20% medium, and then 12%. You know, like this is like your standard depth profile, but they're not really fantastical at any of it, right? And so Notre Dame, on the other hand, is a dink and dunk style offense by far. Okay, so 25.3% of the time behind the line of scrimmage, third in EPA, 40.9% on passes 1 to 9 yards, and then they are 4th overall in pass attempts that are 9 yards or less. Now, I don't agree with the behind the line of scrimmage stuff. Like, I feel like I fucking say this every single video, but like it is imperative to bring up, especially with a team like this that is elite at running the ball. I would much rather see it be like 20% and then just take that 5% and sprinkle it into the run game some more. Like, that's just how good. That's what I would do, being perfectly honest. All right, now when we go to the defensive depth profiles, we'll see that Notre Dame secondary is just I don't know if there's anything better. I mean, now that Benjamin Morrison is out for the year and has been for a couple of weeks, I could say there are better secondaries, but when he was healthy, easily the best in my opinion. But they seem to have like adjusted and still, held fast to that. And then when you look at, down the field passes, they're still very good. They're top 5 across the board, in the depth profiles. Virginia, average and passes 10 yards or more, and then actually like really bad at behind the line of scrimmage passes, which, I mean, again, this could be a very long day for them if they cannot stop the run at the point of attack, and then they can't stop these perimeter passes. And so when we go to the 3rd or 4th down part of it, this is a part that's another thing that's bad for Virginia. They're 62nd overall in EPA on 3rd and 4th down. Notre Dame is 2nd overall offensively. And then when we go to the defensive side, they're a little bit below average. And, Notre Dame is 2nd overall. Like, those are the metrics that I look at. Even though I'm a Notre Dame homer, which I am by far, they are measuring up well in like all the areas that they need to be successful. Now, the schedule has not been great. Like, let's be honest here. Like, the schedule has been pretty soft. Much softer than what we would have thought of coming into the year. It looked like it would have been a little bit tougher. And, I mean, the Texas A&M victory looks better and better each day. But, again, those teams are not the same teams that played week 1, right? So the thing that is standing out to me, though, is ever since the Northern Illinois loss, it feels as if they have gotten the picture. Like, they need to win these games, and they need to win these games in convincing fashion. They seem to be locked in to make the playoff if they win these last 3 games, but you cannot take anything for granted at this point. And that is one of the things that I see here in this matchup, okay? They need to beat Virginia by like 25 plus. They need to lay it on them, just like they did to Navy, Florida State, Georgia Tech, Stanford. They have to lay it on them. They cannot, because the loss to Northern Illinois is inexcusable. Even if Northern Illinois goes ahead and wins the MAC, which they probably will not, but it's inexcusable. So they got to be, perfect the rest of the way, and they have to do it with style. And I think Freeman understands that. And they have a good style that doesn't look like they're pressing to put up, these big games. They're just running the ball down people's fucking throat. Like, let's take a look at the game logs. All right. So, I mean, look, they're just the yards per attempt are insane. They're averaging almost 6 yards per attempt running the ball, and that's one thing. We take a look at Virginia's defense and see how they have fared, especially of recent. And they've done okay. They've done okay against Pittsburgh, North Carolina. Louisville and Clemson were eye-opening games to give up, over 5 yards a carry. So I think they're gonna do their best to try to keep this competitive, but I don't see that happening. I don't see that being. I just don't see that happening. I think Calandria is a good quarterback for what he is as a sophomore. I thought last year he was like a gunslinger with nothing to lose, and I think that's kind of like bled over this year. You have your 8 interceptions, 12 touchdowns, but I just think they're going to be outmatched in pretty much every facet of this game, and if they can't, the other thing is like 22.5 is a lot of points, right? But when you're looking at it from the perspective, like if Virginia can't get off the field on third downs and stay on the field offensively and convert third downs, like Notre Dame's just going to impose their will and their game plan, and there's not going to be any like deviating from that. And you could look up and it could be like, 24-7, and you're just like, fuck, how are we going to cover this game? Like, you're going to be holding 22.5, and it's going to feel like, like 3.5, and so, like, I feel as if two things. You have a strength on weakness with the running game, which is Notre Dame's biggest strength offensively, and then you have this need and sense of urgency to win these games with style points, which they have proven that they can do and have done here for like the last 6 weeks. And so, anyway, that's going to be the end of this episode, this video. If you enjoyed the content, please like, subscribe, share with a friend, a family member. The channel is still in its infancy. Like, we're only a couple of months in, and we've grown like kind of moderately over time. I try to do as many videos as I can a week. Sometimes it's 7 or 8. Sometimes it's 2. It just really depends on what my schedule looks like. But if you have any suggestions for anything else this weekend, you can leave a comment in this on this video or any of the other ones I've done so far. I am going to do some more tomorrow, but you have to make those suggestions. Today is the last day. So other than that, I really appreciate you stopping by and listening and watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.